Good day. Today we will create an Apache logs parser. Logs parsing is a pretty regular way to identify offending IP addresses during a DDoS attack on your website. And the goal of our parser is to read a log file and count quantity of requests to your website from each IP address. Also, our parser will write evaluated data to a CSV file. So, the parser will have three logic blocks. The first logic block is opening a log file and searching for each IP address in it. The second block will count quantity of requests from each IP. And the third one will write evaluated data to a CSV file. Okay, let's begin. I opened a project directory and there is a prepared log file. A link to the Dropbox repository with that log file will be in the description to this video. Let's look at this log file. So it's opened, a pretty small log, just about 8,000 entries in it, and usually logs are greater. Once I've received from the client a log file with 1,300,000 entries, and the size of the log was approximately 300 megabytes. So there is only part of a log, and now let's look at it more attentively. All we need here are IPs. Here they are. This one, and so on. Don't be afraid of the other information presented here. These are date and time. It's an HTTP request. It is a GET request, a request to read a page. Then it's a URL of the page. Next, it's a server status code 200 means that the server responds successfully. Then we can see a URL of the page a user came from, a referrer. Then we can see a user agent and information about user's hardware and browser. But we need only IPs. Okay, let's create a Python script. I have done it already and named a parser.py. Now let's create an entry point of our code, which will start our script. Next, the first action of our parser is to open a log file and read its content and then transfer to the next logic block of our parser. So let's create a function reader that will take only one argument, name of file. Then I have to open a log file. And all file operations are performed within the context manager with. I am calling an open function that will open a file for me, and as an argument I pass in it a local variable file name, this one. And then open file object for reading. I want to save in a variable. So I use the as keyword to save file object to a variable. And then I have to create a variable. Let's say f variable. Thus f variable is referencing to the opened for reading file object. And now we need to do something with the file object. We need to read its content. So let's create a new variable and name it log. Then let's call the file object method read. And that's all. We read and then wrote content of the file object to the variable log. Let's test what we have done and print out log variable. And to do it, in our initializing block in if condition, I have to call the reader function. Between quotes, I specify file name log. Then, in reader function, I print out log variable. As we can see, it have read all. Good. Partly we finished the first logic block of our script. Yes, but we certainly don't need all this mess of information. We need only IPs. So we should find strings throughout the text that match a certain search pattern. And so we perform a search pattern matching. Such a search pattern is a regular expression. And to use regular expressions, we have to import RE module. Import RE. Next. Let's create a regular expression for matching IPs. And let's look at these IPs again. For instance, this one. Each IP address consists of 4 parts separated by the dots. And these parts contain from 1 to 3 digits. For example, here 3 digits, here 2 digits, here only 1 digit, for instance. I am creating a new variable regexp that equals to a string, and between quotes I specify \d. \d means a digit from 0 to 9. As each part of an IP contains of 1 to 3 digits, so I have to specify a range, a quantity of digits. And within curly brackets I specify 1, 3. Then \dot, that means a dot between parts. And there is an expression for one part. And I want to copy it 4 times. 1 part, 2, 3, 4. And for the last part of the regular expression I delete dot and \. So our regexp is ready. And now let's prefix our regular expression with the letter R. That means raw string notation, and Python won't attempt to interpret \d as an escape sequence, like symbol of a tab, \t or a new line \n. So Python will interpret this string as is. We have assigned the regular expression to the regexp variable, and let's use it. We will use our regexp variable with statement also, and there let's create a new variable IPS list that equals to re-module. We'll call its method findAll. And the findAll method takes 2 arguments. The first argument is what we are searching for. And we will search any text that matches the pattern that is our regular expression. That is variable regexp. And the second argument is where are we searching for. And we will search in the log variable. And let's test it. Print IPS list. I run the script. Here you are, all IP addresses of our log. And now, instead of the print function, we will use return keyword. So, the function reader will return the IPS list variable. The first logic block is complete now. The second logic block of our script is a counter. And let's define a new function. Let's say count, that will take a list of IPs, IPS list. Here, within the count function, we will count the quantity of requests to the website. Of course, we can write a small block of code that will count the quantity of occurrences of each IP address. But it's not very convenient solution. The right way to count occurrences of each IP is to use the class counter from the module collections, because there is a special class for such tasks. So I have to import from collections, import counter class. Counter is a class, so I start counter with a capital C. The counter is an interesting thing, and let's look at it a bit more closely. I open terminal. And let's create a list and fill it with 3A, 1B, C, let's say A again and B again. Such a short list. From collections, import counter. Now let's create a counter. I create a C variable that equals to a counter class, and I want to pass into it our list. C, and what we see that counter is a dictionary where elements of the list L, A, B, C, A, B are stored as keys of the dictionary, and its counts are stored as values of the dictionary. It is very convenient. Into the constructor of the class counter we pass just a list, and as output we'll get a dictionary which we can use in our further calculations. So let's repeat this in our script. Counter equals to counter class that will take our IPS list, this one, and we can return counter, or we can do this. And that's all. The second logic block is complete too. The third logic block is an export of the results to a CSV file. To do it, I have to import the CSV module. Import CSV. And let's define a function write CSV. Write CSV that takes as an argument a dictionary counter, for instance. And again, we should use the with statement as we perform some manipulations with file. And again, we use the open function. Open. If the open function finds the file with the name passed into it as the first argument, it will open it. Otherwise, the open function will create a new one with the file name passed into it as the first argument. So, I'm passing here a file name, let's say output CSV, and I'm opening it up for writing, so I should pass the second argument. Between quotes I specify W letter. W means write, and as we did before, I use as keyword to save opened file object to a variable, let's say CSV file. Next, I have to create a writer. Writer equals to CSV module has method writer that will take as an argument our CSV file variable, this one. Writer is created, and from now writer will write for us in a CSV file all needed data. A CSV file is a spreadsheet, comma separated values. So let's create a header for the spreadsheet. I create a new variable header that equals to a list, and now each element of the list will be name of the column. The first column will be IP, and the second column will be frequency. And now we need to write the header of the spreadsheet to a CSV file. So let's call writer's method writeRaw. Writer.writeRaw, and I have to pass into it the header variable. Header. Next, as we have dictionary with IPs and their counts, we have to write this data to the spreadsheet. All keys of the dictionary I want to write to the left column below IP, and the counts of IPs I want to write to the right column frequency. And to do this, I want to use a for loop. For each item in counter dictionary, this one, as a dictionary is an iterable object, we can pass it to the for loop, and dictionary will be iterated over its keys. So in each iteration in a for loop, the item variable will contain a key of the dictionary counter, this one. And in each iteration of the for loop, we are calling writer's method writeRaw, and will pass in it IP addresses and their counts. But here there is a small nuance. Method writeRaw takes just only one argument, but we have two arguments, IP and count. So we have to make a tuple or a list like we did in the first time when created a header. So I call writeRaw method, and inside round brackets I specify a tuple, and the first element of the tuple will be item, that is a key of the dictionary, an IP address, and the second element of the tuple will be counter, the value of the IP, of the key, because we get the value of the key by passing the key to the dictionary. And that's all. Now let's correct the initializing block. I am calling write CSV function that takes a dictionary as an argument, and a dictionary is evaluated in the second logic block of our script here within count function. So to write CSV function, I have to pass the call of the function count that in its turn takes an IP list from the first logic block from reader function. So to the count function I have to pass call of the reader function, and finally at the reader function I have to pass into the file name log. Such a chain calls of functions. And that's all. Let's start it. I save a script and run it. We have output CSV file. Let's open it in LibreOffice, and we can see our AP's data. Let's sort it descending order by frequency. Okay, so we have found the attacker to the website, and we can ban him in htaccess file. So I think we have done the task. Thank you for watching. If you like it, please click like and subscribe.